Today, I'm talking to a Grammy-nominated multi-platinum producer who has songs with Lil Baby, Lil Durk, NBA YoungBoy, Polo G, Nas, MoneyBagg Yo, and the list goes on and on. In this video, he's going to be spilling the sauce on how to get placements and also giving you some advice on what not to do if you want to build your network within the industry. And if you stick around, he's even going to break down his multi-platinum single with Lil Baby. Did you know that melody was special whenever you made it?
That beat, when we made it, we were like, no, that's the one. You have to be ready like all the time to jump on an opportunity when it comes.
Would you say that like working in the industry is overrated?
It looks a lot better from the outside than it actually is on the inside.
We're here with the GOAT, Haze.
What's good?
What made you actually start making beats?
So I was in high school and I was just bored as hell. I saw the GarageBand app on my phone, so I was just kind of fucking around with stuff in there. Like, I've been a lifelong musician, like played the piano my whole life, so I could kind of like figure out how to make a beat pretty easily on that. But like GarageBand kind of blows, so I started watching YouTube videos. God, I fell. I also had a buddy in high school. He was starting to make beats at the same time as me, and so we just kind of got into it together and kept like pushing each other to do it more.
Oh yeah, that's dope. How did you actually make your first dollar off of beats?
I sold a beat. This is like, I want to say fall of 2019. This was like my first semester at college. I had made like my Prod Haze Instagram or whatever, and like I was starting to actually like post beats and stuff and like start trying to get artists. I was selling beats for like $5 through the DMs to just random kids. It was nice, bro, because like whenever I get a beat sale, like I would be so hyped about it, and it'd literally be like 5, 10, 20 bucks, but I'd be like, all right, I can like go out to eat today or something. Like I can go to Chipotle. Like that was broke as hell at the time too. I wasn't working a job because I was doing like school and I was running a Division I track and field. So it was just, I was busy as hell and I didn't have any time to like work.
I wanted to ask you that because I feel like a lot of people have like this limiting belief in their head that they have to be a full-time musician to make it with music, but you've managed to get placements with all these fucking crazy people while being a full-time college student, and I know that you're not just grinding making beats 24/7, right?
No, not at all. I mean, like I definitely worked really hard. Like I don't want to downplay that, like especially like over COVID when I was stuck in the house, like that's when I was just making beats 8 hours a day. Like, and I get back to school and like I definitely had to balance my time a lot more from like making beats. And I actually quit the track team my sophomore year of college because like I was just doing well with music. I had gotten a couple cuts with YoungBoy. Like I was like, all right, like I want to spend my time doing music instead of 30 hours a week of running in a circle. You underestimate how much time you have in a day where you're just like chilling or like playing video games or just scrolling on TikTok or whatever. And like that's the time that I put into beats. Like I really kind of cut out a lot of those waste and distractions and stuff like that. Like beats like were my video games. I will say honestly, a lot of my success in my come up was that I was ready for every single opportunity. Like if anybody texted me for anything, like I would sit down, I'd cook something up fast, it would be good, and I'd get it to them. Like one of my biggest skills in this shit is like being able to cook up really quickly. For any like upcoming producers watching this, you don't have hours off. Like if you really want to make it in this shit, like you have to be ready like all the time to jump on an opportunity when it comes, because if you don't, the next guy will.
Yeah, exactly. And people don't want to hear that because it's like nobody's saying that it doesn't suck and it's not terrible, but like if you're not doing it, some fucking 16-year-old kid in Germany is just gonna he's gonna be doing that shit all day.
The 16-year-old German kids are stealing your placements. Go get them.
No hate to the 16-year-old German kids. Yeah. All right. So how did you actually get your first major placement?
So that was like late summer of 2020. And I was just cooking up, like making YoungBoy type of shit because he was one of my favorite artists. And I would send a pack of loops to this producer at 1200. This is kind of the first time I'd worked with him and I didn't really know him. He just gave me his email. And so I was sending loops to him and he just texted me like a week later. He was like, we got some shit. Like I can't tell you what it is, but like you'll see soon. I'd never heard like those words before, honestly, and like that first like we got one text that you get, like that's a crazy feeling. So I was just like, I was geeking about that for a week. About a week later, I wake up, it was like a Saturday morning or something. My phone is like blowing up and I look and like I see the YoungBoy and P Youngin, they had just dropped like a music video on YouTube, my loop and 1200's drums. And so I was geeking about that, dude. Like I was jumping up and down down, running around my dorm, like showing all my roommates. It was crazy. It was a crazy feeling.
That's fucking crazy. There's definitely nothing like that. First beat sale, first placement, whatever. It's just like same exact feeling. So it feels like every week that I'm on your Instagram, like you have a new snippet or a new fucking placement that drops. Do you have any like theories as to why you get so many records compared to other people?
Honestly, like my answer to that question is that it's a numbers game. Like I've been making like on average probably 10-15 loops a week for the last 3 or 4 years, and I send them out every single week. There's just so much of my shit out there, and I've worked so hard on like my network and working with all the most fire producers, and like everybody has Haze loops, you know what I mean? And like they just find their way into the hands of artists, I guess. Like that Uzi snippet I got recently was like, that loop I want to say was like January 2022. What I would say is like just keep putting your shit out there. Like it's a numbers game. Like you're gonna find out about shit placing that you made like 2 years ago. It's just keep working.
You talked about this in a previous video we did, but how do you go about building your network of producers?
Find people that like you genuinely fuck with, you work with. Like if there's like a dope upcoming artist that you want to work with, like and you're a loop maker or something, like find their main producers, work with them. It's just all about finding out who knows who and providing some value to them.
Oh yeah. I put together like a playlist of all your placements I went on Genius and like whatever. Obviously it's the biggest one, but definitely my favorite song is In a Minute by Lil Baby. So would you be down to go in and break that one down for us?
100%, man. Let's get into it. All right. So my boy Kai and I made this beat. He had this crazy idea. He was working on shit for Baby because he was about to get flown out to Atlanta to work in the studio with them. So we were working on putting together some crazy packs for that. And he had an idea, like we sampled this Ellie Goulding vocal. It's the same shit that Drake's sampled in Pound Cake. This is what the sample sounds like. And he just sent it to me with like these basic drums on it, just like so I could get the bounce. He just wanted me to build some melodies around it, kind of flush it out, like add some shit behind. So I just started with like a pretty simple piano, just keyscape. It's all about repetition. Like this just plays the same thing. That's like what's satisfying to the ear to hear. It's a big factor in making catchy melodies. Along with the piano, I just did a bass line. It's an Omnisphere bass. It's one of my favorites. Just follows the root notes. So then I added like what's kind of the main melody of the song, this bell. This is a bell I actually made myself in Omnisphere, so I can't really drop the sauce on that one. It's the same repetition, you know, it's just playing the same thing the whole way through. And then the last thing I added was this guitar. So we actually ended up pitching that down a whole octave. This is what it sounds like pitched down with the vocals. I love that melody, man. It's really so simple. Like I didn't do a whole lot to it. It's just good sound selection, catchy vocal sample, bouncy drums. Like shout out to Kai for having the idea. I really just kind of played my role on that song. He was the mastermind behind it.
That song is fucking crazy. Did you know that melody was special whenever you made it?
That beat, when we made it, we were like, no, that's the one. It was the first one Kai played when he got in the studio with Baby when he was in Atlanta. He recorded the whole thing that night, I'm pretty sure. And then the story of that song coming out was actually so dope. I was just like in class at school. This was my junior year. And I was just walking back from class and my phone just starts fucking exploding. I just looked and Baby had posted like the whole like minute long, fully shot out, like big budget music video. And I'm like, oh shit. There's no feeling like it, man. I love that feeling.
Oh yeah, it's fucking crazy. Is there anything that you do in your loops, or like a secret you have to make them like get more placements?
I would say there's no secret, but like chords drive everything. And like if you have a good understanding of like what chords like resonate with and want to rap on, like, and you just make a bunch of stuff with those chords, like you're gonna get placements. Also in my loops, like I focus so much on sound selection now, using sounds differently than other people. That's what's gonna set your shit apart.
Oh yeah. Hold on, I gotta show you this real quick. Yeah.
What the fuck is that thing?
It's a fucking Turkish saz, bro. I don't know. It's not tuned or anything, but yeah. I also got fucking a harp.
Hell yeah, that thing looks sick. Honestly, that's how you level up your sound, like whether it's getting synths or live instruments or like shit like that, but just like thinking out of the box, like not using the same shit that everybody else does.
If you had to start from zero today, you lost all your followers, but you kept all of your knowledge, what would be your strategy to get your first major placement or start to build your network of producers?
I'd probably buy like the Kavi producer playbook thing, like buy a bunch of Kavi kits, like just start cranking out soul beats. No, I think honestly, if I got back into it from zero right now, I'd probably try to go like the route, like kind of more like what you've done, where like you're selling sound kits, you're like selling a lot of things to a lot of people. So I'd probably like grind content, like still be networking and trying to like find a circle of producers that you really fuck with and work with, because that's what makes making music fun, you know what I mean? Like just making it with the right people around you.
Would you say that like working in the industry is overrated?
It looks a lot better from the outside than it actually is on the inside. Like I'm definitely not saying that I'm not like incredibly lucky to be in the position I'm in. I love what I do, but like I would say like industry shit's mad annoying. It's a pain in the ass when like you're having to like fight tooth and nail with your lawyer against a label for like 3 weeks to get like a $700 advance payment that they were supposed to pay you 6 months ago.
Yeah, for sure. What are the biggest mistakes that you see sample makers making when they're trying to make it in the industry?
Acting like a complete robot. Literally, like I'm not even sure if half of the people in my DMs are human. Here's a secret, bro. If you want to work with me, like don't hit me up asking to work. Like hit me up when I'm like, when I post an Instagram story, like me like doing some dumb shit with my friends, and like have a conversation with me, bro. You need to be a human in this world of just like people posting like black screen snippet posts, you know what I mean, all the time, or like I don't know. I don't want to hate on like anybody, the way anybody's doing anything specifically. I just feel like you're just another number with fraud underscore whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of times, like if you don't have like some unique value, like you're not a graphic designer or a video editor who can kind of get in the door that way because you're offering something different than normal people, like just sending loops. If you don't have that, actually making a genuine connection, just messaging them about like shit that isn't, yo, let me send loops or whatever.
Anybody who you want to send loops to probably has enough loops. You got to bring something new to the table, whether that's some unique value you can provide, like you were saying, like graphic designing or video editing, or whether that's just like being a cool guy to hang out with. Like if you meet somebody in person in the studio, like be genuine with this shit. Try to connect on a personal, like a bigger than music level with people.
We kind of talked about like what people's mistakes are when they're reaching out to people. If you wanted to work with, let's say, ATL Jacob, how would you go about either DMing him to like work with him just directly that way, or like how would you go about just making that connection so that you could eventually have like a working relationship with him?
He's one of my favorite producers, so I'd love to someday, but I feel like, yeah, I would say working with people who he works with a lot, like whether it's co-producers or like an upcoming artist that you might be working with too, like you could get stuff with them, collab on it. These big producers at this point, you got to almost treat them like they're artists, in the fact where like you can't really get to them directly, so you got to work with people around them. In person's the best way to do it, but like over the internet, I feel like it's really hard at this point, so you just got to find the sneakiest route you can take to who knows this guy, you know what I mean? Find a network of people that make good music with you, and it'll take you places. It really will.
I have a starter that I made. Would love for you to go in and flip it. All the sounds that I'm using in this starter are from my up and coming Elements of R&B kit, which is going to be crazy. So stay on the lookout for that. The free version will be dropping pretty soon. There's going to be a link in the description where you can sign up for the waitlist for that. All right, so I grabbed this acoustic guitar starter from the kit. And then after that, I sang some vocals on top of it, and they're sounding rough, but once I sent it to a vocalist, it sounds crazy, so you gotta trust the process. When times get tough, I think of you, and sometimes I wish that it wasn't true. After that, I added some backing vocals. When times get tough, I think of you, and sometimes I wish that it wasn't true. And then after that, I sent it to my vocalist, Sarah Kennedy. She killed it.
When times get tough, I think of you.
Better than you.
And sometimes I wish that it wasn't true.
Baseline on.
Is Omnisphere your go-to?
For synth basses, yeah, for sure. I use this Growler Moog bass. Like, that's not even sauce. Like, everybody knows this bass, but like, I've been using it for a long time.
This motherfucker speaks video.
Bro, I'm the click-in master.
Do you mess around with new sounds every sample, or do you have like a batch of sounds that you're just like, you abuse?
So I have like a batch of sounds that I absolutely abuse, but like it just gets to the point where I can't use them in every beat. So I'll use like one of my favorite sounds in like most of my loops, whether it's my favorite like synth bass or like a lead or like keys or whatever. But, like, I usually try to incorporate something new in all my samples. All right, flute line.
Bro, that shit was fire. That was fucking dope as shit. I like that you had the drums going too. I feel like it gives it more of like a clear picture of what it could be. If you guys want to join a community with over 9,000 people, join my free Discord server. It's right in the description down below. I've helped a ton of producers get placements in there for free. So if you want some help getting your first placement, you're definitely not going to want to miss out on that. Also, if you want to learn how to make your first $1,000 as a music producer while you're waiting for your Lil Baby placement to come in, check out this video right here.